Recording in progress.
So call meeting in order at 4:14. Roll call. Roy. Here. Rita. Steve Hurt.
Here.
David.
Here.
Steve Hurt.
Yes.
David Reed.
Here.
Thomas Morris.
Here.
Liz.
Yes.
Murphy.
Here.
Chris. No, he's not. Is there a motion to adopt it?
I would like to ask that a discussion of the Parks, Pathways and Preserves charge adopted by the board in 2022 be added as a discussion item under new business. You all got my email that I sent out.
Well, I would second that, except I have a question. Given what we may or may not know about all the business we want to take care of tonight, can we put this as new business, whether it's tonight or the next meeting? I don't know. I don't know how to react to that at this point, because I think it's important, very important, but I don't know if we have the time tonight, or should we put it to next meeting?
So for a little bit of context, this discussion is taking place internally with the plan of having a recommendation to bring to this committee at the next meeting for any proposed changes for review.
Does that mean then that there will be decisions made? I'm assuming, Liz, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but of course you would like to, and I think it's an important topic to talk about as a committee. Are you saying that it will be decided and the committee will be told of the new charge, or are you expecting us to participate in the new or modified charge? Can you tell me? Okay.
I'm going to
So
suggest,
right now,
excuse me, go ahead.
So right now we have the co-chairs, the board liaison and myself are going through it. And then what we'll bring are our recommendations, but it's still, this is not a finalized document by any means, mostly because it's asking.
Okay. All right.
So we're working on preparing a draft revision to the current one. And so we're meeting, I think by the next meeting, by the September PPP.
Probably 2 of these. Tomorrow, maybe.
But we could have a draft.
Yeah.
So we would have a draft by the September meeting that we could bring back to, we don't really have a draft today.
I am going to add to this that there is a move underway to revise this charge. Any revisions to the charge should be done in public with members of the public able to participate. This is a municipal group governed by the Open Meetings Act, and the proposal is to change the charging document that defines what this group does. All of us should be in on that discussion, and there's a proposal. That's why our meeting was canceled last month. There's a proposal to have a self-selected group of 3 revise the charge and bring it back to us for review. And I would suggest that is not appropriate, that this has to be happen in an open meeting.
Just for the sake of accuracy, it's not a self-appointed group. It was appointed by the operations director, i.e. the township manager.
Well, I have not heard that before.
And it's going to be discussed in public at the next meeting, or whenever it's done.
Well, I'm suggesting that changes to this document need to happen in public. Any discussion of whether this document needs to be changed should happen in public.
And it will.
Right, well, here and at the township board.
It should be discussed here. We need to discuss whether any changes are appropriate here. Now, not after it's been changed, right? And then it comes back to us and goes.
So what you're saying is you want a committee to change it. So what you're going to do is we're going to get the bottom of this in another. You have to start with something, and then the group can modify it.
We have something, and we can talk about in here about whether to modify this document.
We have something that is grossly outdated.
Let's talk about that.
Modification.
Let's talk about that, and let's
bring it to the committee for their input. We're bringing a suggested change to the committee, And we can talk about it with the committee, we can talk about it in public. People can make public comment at that time.
This is the time for public comment before this document is changed to determine what changes are appropriate in a public setting. The residents of this township support the parks with their taxes, and they need to know what we're doing. Well, they need to know in time to comment before it's a done deal.
It's not a big
That is-
Be a
that
done
is-
deal at
done
the
deal.
next meeting either. It will never be a done deal until the board adopts it. So there are no changes proposed or otherwise that can possibly be adopted until the board has seen it, and the board will not see it until this committee has had a chance in public to discuss it.
And this is what the operations director has told us.
I think that this is backwards. I'm not sure about the accuracy of what you're saying, but I do think that we should review this document in public here. And so I would like to make a motion to add an item discussing the PPP charge to the agenda today and ask for a second and vote and have that reflected in the minutes. My motion's on the table.
Is there a second?
Well, I still believe what I said. I would like to second it, but I also want to be clear that I think Liz, I completely agree. It has to be discussed in public, but I think the way I asked my question and the answer that I got from Murphy was that whatever discussion is going to happen outside of this committee will be, in other words, we will have this document plus whatever changes are being suggested by the people that are the subcommittee, and we will have the opportunity to look at both of them side by side and have comments back and forth, and we will then have the opportunity to debate, okay, this phrase is up to date, it's better than that one. This whole paragraph should stay the same. I think we're still being given that opportunity after these committee has had their discussion. So I'm willing to second that if we can agree. I'm willing to wait and see what recommendations are made as long as it's a recommendation and not a change. That's what I'm willing to do.
What form of
Yeah.
procedural guarantee is there that it does come back to us before it goes?
Yeah,
back?
good question. Yeah.
That's the question right there.
Yep.
Well, that is the plan, I guess. I guess trust that that's what that's what the director of operations asked us to do. That's what we're doing. Bring it back. I mean, to discuss it today, we don't even have the draft. I don't have the draft today. So we can't really discuss anything in my mind because I didn't bring anything to discuss. I'm prepared to discuss. So even if we put it on the agenda, we can talk about what the plan is to meet, I think tomorrow, then meet again at some point, and then bring it back into the September meeting as a draft.
There are no changes that are gonna go before the board, as I've said, until this committee has had ample opportunity in public to discuss it. Whether that's over the course of 2 or 3 meetings, we're not gonna go behind your back and propose something when we've literally just said in public on record that we're not going to do it that way.
Okay, there's a motion on the table and a second on the table. You ready to call a vote?
Well, did you second it? Yes. or no?
Well,
that was not.
So again, no, technically what I'm willing to go along with is the idea that we as a committee have an opportunity to review the proposed changes compared to the original and then debate the two back and forth. Because I think that's actually going to be maybe more helpful in a way, because I don't know that we have enough time, and nor have I had, I've gone through and I've read the original chart and I've highlighted some items, but I would honestly, to do this in my mind correctly, I would need more time to absorb this. And I haven't had enough time to really think this through. And I think it also just helps me. I'm sorry, this is a long answer to your question. I guess, no, technically I am not going to second the motion that we do it tonight. I am going to be supportive of the idea that no changes will be made. We will have an in public opportunity to compare both, and I'm willing to do that. Yes. That's what I'm like. So no, I guess technically I cannot second for tonight's discussion.
Okay, then we can't have a vote on it, but Thomas, would you have the minutes, please reflect that there was a motion, it was not seconded, and it was a motion to put this charge under new business for a discussion item tonight.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other items? That is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Aye, scary. Okay, on item D, public comment, this is the time the member of the public may speak to Parks, Pathways and Preserves Committee for up to 3 minutes on any matter. The people here.
Well, me first. Mary Gillis, Scio resident, trustee-elect. Good afternoon, everyone. I attended this meeting 2 months ago, the last time this committee met, and asked a question about your deliberations regarding deer management strategies. The minutes of that meeting reflect what one member stated, which is that the matter had been discussed in the past, but was deemed more appropriate for a board level discussion and decision. No such discussion has occurred, at least not in public. What the minutes did not record was the extraordinary response from Director Harrington to my questions, who stated that the matter was not to be discussed, that it was a secret, a private personnel matter, that she was not coordinating with committee members or staff, or apparently the board, judging by the content of their agendas. At last night's Board of Trustees meeting, several people noticed that the proposed park rules contained language that put the Parks Director in sole charge of whether hunting could be conducted on township lands. In other words, it appears that Director Harrington wrote into the rules that she is in charge of deciding whether hunting is used as a deer management strategy on township lands. This is not a personal remark to say, I don't believe that one person should be in charge of a decision of that magnitude. Fortunately, others felt the same, and the rules were tabled until September 8th. Later, Murphy assured the board that her decisions regarding deer management were based on research among leading communities in Michigan. That's fine. What she didn't say is that she had consulted any of you, apart from presumably David Reed. Whether it is decided to seek out a deer management program that includes hunting or not, it's the secrecy I object to. Director Harrington was not hired to make decisions for Scio Township, but to make recommendations to the Board of Trustees in consultation with the Parks, Preserves, and Pathways Committee. I would ask this committee to direct Murphy to consult with you on all major decisions she brings to the board as the committee charge requires. And if she and David want to change the committee charge, I request that that work be done in consultation with the current committee and public participation be encouraged. And that any revisions be for the purpose of working better together, not so the director can be empowered to act autonomously. Murphy, you are a talented, intelligent person. It's clear everyone here really likes you. Your success is Scio's success. Please work with your committee to do what consensus determines is best for our parks and preserves. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Rob Pattinson, Scio Township resident. As usual, Liz, for the last 6 years, I totally agree with you. I think this discussion needs to happen in public. I think it needs to happen with this committee. Question about timeline. This is August. We're talking about this subcommittee coming back with recommendations in September for this unit to discuss. Then I would assume any changes that were proposed would go back to the subcommittee and they would come back and say October and discuss it again. And then perhaps in November it goes to the board, maybe December. Are there any deadlines, any timelines that are associated with this charge change that are limiting your time to do that? Question for any of you.
I guess I'm not aware. Maybe a question more for the director of operations, but I guess I'm not aware.
So it sounds like we've got time to talk about this multiple times, right? Okay. So the reason I came tonight was to ask about the phase 5 pathway. In the newsletter, it talks about the fact that that's going to be completed this year. I remember the border to border trail was going to take another, was it a phase 6, or at one point it was phase 5A and 5B. Will phase 5 get us all the way to Huron River Drive? And does that complete the connection to Huron River Drive? Does it get us, I know it gets us over the river because we talked about the bridge. Does it get us across Huron River Drive? Does it get us across the railroad tracks? Does it get us connected to the border to border at Huron River Drive?
I'll answer that. I'm pretty familiar with it. It was a bit out all the items to get, you know, where we stop now to get to the river, across the river, to the reserve, the
I can't remember the name of it.
no, on the preserve on the west side. Whatever.
Yeah, the new one.
And then getting through the Swister component and then across the tracks.
Swister was the hang up.
Right, and the Sweepster still is sort of the hang up. So they go, I mean, right now, the contractor's gonna, you know, get started, go as far as we can and get across the river, you know, to that Sweepster. There's still negotiations going on with Sweepster. If that gets resolved, you can keep going. There's looking at another option along the road. And then getting a permit from the railroad tracks. That's also in the contract, but you have to get a permit from Amtrak and MDOT. So it is no guarantee that that's gonna happen by this fall. So it is sort of like 5A, B, and C, you could say.
Right.
So I mean, yes, you know, it's keeping marching north, but I guess I don't think Murphy, because we don't know the whole Sweepster negotiations. You know, the legal counsel for the townships is working with them, and Chris Chang is more, I think, involved with this as much as anyone. Obviously, Chris isn't here today.
I have an update.
Okay. So anyways, I don't know, Murphy, you wanna, anything I missed?
No.
Okay, that's where we are. I mean, the goal is, yes, to connect into the border trail, and it will get there, but there's just permitting and right of way can always be a challenge.
It can happen this year if all of these key points happen in sequence. It can happen, but it's not a sure thing. And that's good enough for me.
Right of way and Amtrak.
Yes, yes, which has been, Amtrak alone has been an issue for years and years and years.
You want-
Oh, okay. I just could do. No, please.
I thought the plan, OHM discussed it, definitely get across the river this year. But plan for the second, across the road, or across the railroad to connect to the, because border is already down to.
The tracks, right?
Down to the tracks. All we gotta do is cross the tracks.
Okay,
That's
right.
all we have to do.
Right.
But I thought there was gonna be this year, the bridge, next year, the railroad.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think
That's
most likely, right. I mean, if all the things lined up,
right.
Burns Stokes is the
Burns Stokes. But if the railroad gives us permission, I suppose, because we approved everything.
The contract with the contractor is to do everything, it's just timing is
Right.
schedule.
If we have money,
Thank you for the clarification. I sincerely appreciate that.
there is money.
The next reason I came tonight was what David said last night about losing count after 67 deer on his property in the last few years. Mary and a couple of residents came in and talked about trapping and hunting, and I can't imagine Scio allowing trapping like snare traps or the bear trap things. I can only imagine live trapping for research, maybe live trapping a wounded animal to get it some help. I can't imagine trapping happening anywhere in Scio parks or preserves. Now, to follow up on what David said, we've lived on Zeeb Road for 50 years. And in the last 10 years, we've had 3 dead deer in our front yard. It's $150 a piece from Critter Control to come and pick them up. And in the previous 40 years, we had 1. So in our evergreens, we notice the deer tracks every winter, and our evergreens get chewed on every winter. So if deer culling is an issue, and I know it's a very loaded issue from what Ann Arbor went through and from the comments last night, if it's an issue, are we going to make sure, number one, that it's done safely? Are we going to make sure that we have vetted people doing it to make sure that they're trained, that they have proper equipment and procedures, and that the surrounding homes are aware of what's going on? It just seems to me that, and what other communities, you talked about Farmington last night. It seems to me there's other communities in Michigan who are dealing with this and are basically doing some of the homework for us that we can base our systems on. So I hope that last night you talked about based on science and all of that. I hope that if and when this issue becomes an issue, and from what I understand, it's an issue for the board rather than for this committee. But it seems to me that that if deer culling becomes necessary, we will have a plan, a proper, safe plan to handle it. Liz, as usual, I agree with you 99.9% of the time. Last night, I did not agree with you about the concerns about trapping and hunting. And I want to make sure that this committee knows this, that if it wasn't for this committee, if it wasn't for Andy Taylor, he was the previous chairman, right? Is it Taylor's left? Anyways, Andy, we wouldn't have a parks department. We wouldn't have a parks village. You guys have done excellent work for years, and that is sincerely appreciated. And now we have Murphy, and I see the professionalism and the creativity of Murphy being able to take us to the next level along with this committee. I think this committee is still valid. I don't understand what the changes in the charge will be unless it's outdated terminology, or maybe we've accomplished some of the things in the original charge that now can be erased. But I see this committee going to the next level, and I see Murphy leading the charge with her professionalism and creativity. And I got the updated version of the parks ordinance and the rules thing from Mariah last night. And this is where I didn't agree with you, Liz, is I don't see the red flags that you were referring to. I didn't see anything in here that said that Murphy alone is going to be able to make any decision like that. Those decisions are too big for anyone but the board to make those decisions and give those directives. So maybe we can have some discussion of that either tonight or when you come back at the next meeting with the subcommittee with the charge stuff. Maybe we can have that discussion then. Thank you very much for the extra time.
Is there anyone online? And right?
No.
Thank you.
Is there anyone online?
Yes.
Oh, there are, okay.
All right, I will close public comment.
Hi.
Sure.
So I just want to address Ms. Gillis's concerns. I will say that it's unfortunate that you have chosen to portray what I've done as secret in any way. Unfortunately, as a consultant, you are not privy to all of the discussions that happen internally. As I said at the last meeting, this is an important internal discussion. And as a recommending body, as much as I respect all of you, this was a directive that was given to me that this conversation was not for this committee. And I will continue to follow the directions of my superiors. Thank you.
Moving on to item E, is there a motion to approve the June minutes?
Yes, also moved.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any additions or modifications? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Again, item F, regular reports and special reports, update from Township Parks.
So today I had a meeting with OHM to get an update about the Liberty Pond Nature Area Boardwalk, and they were able to provide their best estimate. Where did I write? Oh, here. $62,000 for the completion of that boardwalk, which is little bit outside of the price range that we were expecting, but they're also anticipating that the bids are probably gonna come in a lot less. But because it's such an oddly timed and such a small project, they wanted to make sure there was a kind of a buffer and expectation of what those bids might be. So the bid packet is going out next Thursday, and then they'll be opening bids on September 10th.
You said for 5050.
No, this is for Liberty Onward.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Does
so
that include like mulch and whatever for the, like on the edges of the boardwalk or?
so it's gonna go over that ditch area for
Yeah,
the
I
most
know where it
part,
is.
and then it's going to, like, that apron will be crushed limestone, and they said
Okay.
it's gonna look really similar to the approaches that we have on the zebra pathway to the boardwalks, except for that'll be limestone. And then they did beef up the size of the portions that are going into the ground, because regardless of what happens with the parks rules and the horses, want to make sure that if people continue to ride out there, they won't break our new boardwalk. So they beefed it up a little bit just to be safe.
And so is that as, I mean, I know you said they might come in less, but is there anything to be discussed about reducing that, amount at this time?
I think it won't be productive until we know for sure, like, what the bids are gonna be. And then if it ends up being way too far outside of what we anticipated, then we can have another discussion about whether we want to table it or postpone it. But in general, we can expect all of these prices to go up. I can't remember, 5 to 7% every year that we postpone it. So that's something to keep in mind if we decide that we don't want to do it this year.
The structure of the boardwalk, it's being built with the idea in mind. I think I just heard you say maybe people ride horses. Okay, one of our last discussions about the bridge over the river to the island was that it also, for safety reasons, had to be big enough to support an ambulance and other things like that. Are we also concerned about
Yes.
this that way as well?
In a sense, yes, but also no, since there are a ton of access sites,
There is.
we don't have to worry about an ambulance needing to drive over it. But it will be able to support an S5 category vehicle. So it would be able to support our smallest truck. We'd be able to drive over it. Our lawnmowers can drive over
Okay,
it.
all
No
right,
problem.
okay.
And where is the boardwalk to be located within the park?
So if you take Wildwood Lane all the way to the back where it dead ends, there's a ditch to the right of that house that's back there. Just in the back corner of the Liberty Pond.
Thank you.
Southwest.
Maybe the north. So the Park Road parking lot, we hit a bit of a problem with our contractors who told us about 5 weeks ago that they no longer had time to do it this year. But with the help and pushing of our OHM, they were able to convince them that it would be in their best interest to complete it in September. So that is now the plan, to get that done in September.
So you're saying it is gonna be completed in September?
Yes,
That's the parking lot.
yes,
Okay, wow. And is it gonna be on the corner there of Park
yes.
and Stabler, or is it
Oh.
gonna be further in?
Further in, so it's basically the corner where the private residence and our boundary line meet, but it's a distance away from, it's closer to that property line than it is
Okay.
Park and Stabler.
Okay,
We wanted to put it there, but the road commission had a problem with the sight line because of, even though there's a stop sign there, that's kind of why I wanted it there.
yeah,
People are already slowing down.
either
but
way would work. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Phase 5 is on track. We already kind of talked about that, but the major update is that the original design, we were not able to get Trier on board with our original design. So we are going with Plan B, which is to have the pathway go with the grade of zebra, unfortunately. The good news is that it costs a lot less. The bad news is that the redesign fee is substantial. So it's unfortunate, but we did the best we could in negotiations with their. This was their final say.
So at this point, we are going up Zeep Road, so the sweepster, what else they're called?
Trier.
Dryer. I told people, Sweeps
I
are,
thought- I
yeah,
thought
they've
they
been
would
sweeps
do
for
that.
decades. So the sweeps are option out and we're going up Steep Road and that will, that's gonna also happen this fall.
Yeah.
Actually.
That's the goal. That's the plan. They don't want to have to come back next year. So
Okay.
they're pushing.
So there's still hope.
Does that mean there'll be a crosswalk across the sea?
Well, the crosswalk will go to Burn Stokes. The crosswalk will be at Burn Stokes. So it'll still stay on the east side of Zevo, just go up the grade.
Oh.
So does that mean we take that width of the path? We can't take it into the road. Are we building more of the hill then to support the path?
Yeah, like there's a curb and then we'll just make a path behind the curb. So like right down here in front of the house, you know how there's certain sections of the pathway, it's separated from the road. There's other sections of the pathway, there's a curb and the path is right behind back a curb, like right here in front of just.
Okay. Well, as I guess I'm focused on where they were doing the work around the corner just a while ago to the river bank, where it starts to curve around into the driveway. I'm going to keep calling it Sweepster.
Yep.
So you come around that corner and you can drive straight into Sweepster, or you go up the hill and around. So since we have to go up the hill and around, my question is, we can't take the width of the pathway into the road. We must then from the outside of the road, we're building more of a hill. We're filling in and building a hill to put the path on, right?
Right, where the shoulder is today, we're gonna extend that shoulder.
Yeah,
to
okay.
get a path.
All right, yeah, okay. Got it.
And some of it, you're like, it's air right now, so.
Yeah,
we
okay.
gotta create
So
a
that's
path.
the point. Okay, got it. Okay.
The whole point of going into Sweepster was to make it ADA compliant for the angles, right? So now it's gonna be this steep hill.
Yeah.
It'll still be ADA compliant, it just will be on steeper grades, because ADA allows you to follow the road grade.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are gonna walk up the front anyway.
Right.
Go ahead and say.
Mhm.
But,
Okay.
excuse me, one more thing. There will be, part of the plan is a painted crosswalk, Burn Stokes.
Correct.
From the north side of the bridge, Burn.
Yeah, north side of the bridge, yeah.
So, but it's not gonna be protected, it's just gonna be a painted, yeah, okay.
With sign.
With the sign, yeah.
Signs.
Last night, the board voted to change the name. It was formerly Marshall, then it was Red Cedar Park. But because of the acquisition of the adjacent parcel and name rights that were outlined in their contract, now both parcels are the Lewis Colwell Nature. So, yes.
Discussion for the
Yes.
LEWS.
Yes.
Then it's COLWELL. I'm working on an RFP for all of our boundaries to get surveyed professionally and have markers put up every 250 feet. Right now, we're out of compliance with the state law in regards to enforcing our boundaries. So we're gonna work on that.
Lewis and Colwell were donated the land or something.
They did not donate.
They
Miss
Well-
Lewis owned it and so she is the one who initiated this and applied. Rather than develop her 7 acres, and so we ended up recommending it.
the name is for the.
And Colwell is like her second husband or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, the prior owners.
Yes.
She is, yeah, she's the.
I recently met with resident Alan Samuels, who was the former president of the Stamps for U of M, to talk about potentially incorporating some of his designs into our parks in the future. We're going to be working with MRC soon to work on a water feature, which was approved by the board last year to keep going with our playground improvement. So I'm going to work with Dan and Alan and potentially a student at U of M to come up with a design and manufacture that design for the water feature, which would incorporate ways to accommodate people with sensory differences.
A water feature at Township Park. And what is Stamps?
Stamps, I don't know what it stands for, but it's like their art program at U of M.
Yeah, what does it stand?
Oh, it's like
It's not posted.
Well, there's a name, it's something
Yeah, I know.
Stamps, and
design.
Penny stand.
Penny stamps, there you go. Yeah. It's on North Campus.
So last night, the entrance signs were approved for 6 of our parks and preserves that currently do not have like their entrance signs or any kind of signage to indicate that there's a park there. So we're gonna get those ordered soon.
The road commission ones or ours, just the ones?
Ours.
The ones that we make
Yeah.
it call the name of it.
We'll get the
Yes.
road commission to do the park entrance, 500 feet also.
Those are already done. Well, if there's no public access, we won't do that. But for anything that still has public access, but I think all of those are already marked by the road commission. But Roy had a suggestion on our, like, preserve 500 feet signs to have an addition put at the bottom that names the preserve. So as people are driving by, they know which preserve sign to be looking for. So,
Like road signs.
Right.
so we're gonna be pursuing that once Julie is in her office. I got the final design for the wayfinding signs at Van Curler. We did find that there was just no way to incorporate the braille aspect because we couldn't find anyone to interpret our braille. Which was kind of an indicator that maybe not that many people would utilize it. So after speaking with the Disability Network of Monroe, Livingston, Washtenaw to get their input on not having the braille, they also agreed that it was not necessary at this time. So we have a new design and that it includes the land recognition. I think that's something that the Parks Committee had talked about long ago before I got here about land acknowledgements on our sites. So that's included. And I used the language that was created in collaboration with tribal communities. And that language is what's used at U of M on their buildings. We did emergence counts for bats at the Scio barn because the former tenants had let us know that they were finding guano all the time out there. So we did an emergence count and got a staggering 0 bats because when the metal roof got put on, they closed up all the access points. So we're figuring out what to do about that and see if there's a way to open it back up, but we'll see. And we're working on getting the staff out at tabling events towards the end of the summer and into the fall when things start to slow down just a little bit. And right now they're going to be at the Monarch Migration Festival at Leslie Science and Nature Center on September 13th. And if you guys want to go see them, it's $6 and they'll be out there with our educational information. And then we'll be taking some of the Washtenaw County Conservation District's literature too.
It's called the butterfly.
There you go. And it's from 1 to 4. The next 4 Scio outside events are sold out, including tonight. But again, if you guys want to attend, there's always room. So let
We
me
can
know.
sneak in.
You can sneak in. That's it.
Is this the time for me to ask some questions? Or do you want me to wait? The first one, yeah, how do these, so I got your email about on July 1st about the July programs and the first one was already sold out. How do people find out about these events to sign up?
So we
Other
have
than
that,
the kiosk QR codes?
yes, we have that option. And then we are also advertising in the Ann Arbor Observer, that holistic publication that I can never remember the name of. That's at all like the hospitals. Pardon, crazy wisdom. No, it's
Sometimes.
I know, I saw it the other day at the parks we had it, yeah, you know.
something wellness, I don't know, but they advertise there and then through our social media.
Okay, and then where on the township website would someone go?
We were
to find
posting them on the website itself, but I'm training right now one of our staff members who does all of the outreach on how to add them to the website. So we're gonna get back on top of that because we ran out of up-to-date items in July. So we need to repost everything.
But was there anything before on the
Yeah.
website?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So people who are comfortable with QR codes or don't visit the parks regularly, they could find out about it on the township website soon, but not
Yes.
yet.
But we're also moving away from using the website since it's not the way that they can register anyway. So we're encouraging people to bypass the website right now and go straight to our Eventbrite page where all of the information, the dates, the times, because what was happening is people are registering through the website And then we have no way of contacting them if we have to cancel or modify the time or anything like that. So it's just,
Will the website direct you to Eventbrite?
it will.
Okay.
And then how many people do you allow to sign up?
It varies. Right now we're just keeping it at 15, mostly because of parking. A lot of our events happen at Van Curler, so the parking tends to be an issue, as Steve knows. To shuttle him over there for the last event. But 15 is just a good number for one staff member to be able to engage with everybody. Otherwise, you start needing to have additional staff.
Okay. I was just wondering, because a butterfly walk, that might be fun for a lot of people, and if it's at a place like Liberty Pond,
Yeah.
where, you know, a lot of people might enjoy that. And if it's, you know, a family of 4.
That's true, yeah.
So,
That's true.
I mean, I would suggest that they could be opened up and not limited in, who can sign up. If 30 people from the township or visitors are interested, I think they should be able to use to learn about butterflies.
I don't disagree. It just becomes really overwhelming for the person that's putting on the event. If there's like 20 or more people,
Yeah.
then you're just trying to engage with them.
You can only do what you can do, but I just think it's fun if you're hosting these events to open them up and say, hey, welcome to the parks, you know,
Yeah.
and we were happy to have you there.
But on the other hand.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have everybody show up. But if they feel ignored because there's 35 people and the one person who's leading the tour can only speak to so many at a time, you know, I turn them off. Because I went to this thing and it completely ignored me. So
Yeah.
there's pluses and minuses to that.
I did talk to one person who went to the butterfly walk and it was sold out and she was the only person there. So
wildfires.
yeah, so I mean, I think we could probably do that differently. The signage, so the board approved last night a $9,000 item for signage. And you brought earlier this year this group.
That was a different sign.
That was a different sign.
So this is entryway signs, like
Yeah.
the one out there, and then the other is the wayfinding signs.
Okay.
Which are the ones that I showed you guys.
Okay, so that is still in the works, or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, so I got the
So-
final
yeah.
revision last week.
Is it
We could put it on this agenda now, if you want to look over it now, or we could just add it to the next agenda.
Is it possible to move toward perpendicular signs rather than parallel? Because those parallel signs you don't see until you're right there. Right.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, the first 3 times at Liberty Pond, I blew right by it. Didn't see it.
Can you,
Parallel to the road versus perpendicular to the road.
we can do that.
They need it 2-sided.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we could do that.
That would be a huge improvement over the current
Okay.
situation.
Double-sided perpendicular signs.
Well, then depending on which way you're coming, you either see it before or after, right?
Yeah.
So if it makes sense to put 2 signs on either side of the driveway, but you're having a sign that says preserve in 500 feet, right?
double side.
Yeah.
But does that make it cost 18,000?
Yes. But we can start. with
Sorry,
what
we're not
was-
talking about the big kiosk signs once you get in. We're just talking,
Just the entryway.
yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, and we can work with the funds that were approved last night, and then we can always bring another addendum back to the board for additional money.
May I agree with you? I mean, perpendicular, you can see, when you're approaching, you can see it. When it's parallel, when you pull in the driveway, you can see it. But if you drove by,
Yeah.
you're less likely
Yeah.
to see it because there's like, oh, there it was.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a few meetings ago. Yeah, it's, you know.
But that's what the road condition warning sign is. Park entrance 500 feet. And if you know you're going to the park, you know, you go, oh, I should start looking at it's a quarter of a mile or a tenth of a mile.
I feel like the double-sided signs serve as advertising as well.
Yeah.
Even if you're not going to
No
it, you
question.
see it.
Right.
No question.
Cheap advertising.
That's a good idea.
Next question, got a few here. So the Liberty Pond nature area, you brought some proposals to us to recommend to the board, but you're not bringing this one to us.
It's not
What
that,
is that?
it's not done yet.
Oh, it's not done yet.
No, so we're opening up for bid, which was part of the original cost that we approved, and then once we figure out what the lowest bid is gonna be, then we bring it
Okay,
back.
all right, so that's in the works.
Yes.
And okay, you spoke to the Five Oaks parking. There are 3 big trees down in the Five Oaks Trail. Do you know that?
Yeah.
They've been down for just under a month.
On the Five Oaks Trail?
Yeah. In the woods.
Hmm.
And I could get through, but I had to climb through. Most people would not be able to get through.
Okay, I'll look that up. Thank you.
They're right back by Scio Farms, Scio Farms Trail.
Okay, if you see stuff like that, feel free to email me. That's
Yeah.
helpful too.
Okay. And there used to be a connector between the western field at Red Cedar and the landline field. And that's not there anymore. It's like very tall. Is there a reason you abandoned that, or it used to lead from the far west field, so you could start where we're gonna have the parking area, right? And you walk up into the woods, through the woods, past Scio Farms, across the western field, and then into the landlocked field. And I noticed that
Oh, yeah,
part has been abandoned.
we're phasing that part out.
Okay, so how will you get to that third field?
We're going through the woods directly into the reforestation field, and then we're not having trails right now in that other like L-shaped field.
Okay, so is there a trail going through the woods? I did not see one.
Yeah, it's not done yet, but we're working on it, along with the other trails that are out in that field right
now. There also West Scio, we had a discussion in 25 or earlier about a family who donated that land, and they want a trail and that recognizes their donation. What's the status of that?
The plan is to, when we have the new wayfinding signs, we're putting there'll be like a transparent film over the parts that we purchased from them, and they'll say Vanderhagen Woods on the map. And then as part of each sign has just like highlights, we'll have a section in there that talks about their family.
Okay, very good. So that's in the works.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so that's all. Thank you very much.
Reforestation. While that project is in place. We wouldn't get to that.
No,
No.
I don't think so. I mean, if people are gonna mess with it, they're gonna mess with it either way. So may as well let people walk by and see what we're up to.
We'll have those tree guards around.
Oh, yeah. Not looking forward to that.
Okay, we're still on regular reports and special reports. Planning, anything in planning? How about lane preservation?
I'll just mention 2 things. The first one, we have a promising new application for a high priority property that has been on our list for a long time, which is very exciting. And the board is discussing and has done some preliminary work on an RFP for our consultant position. So those are 2 things that are on the books.
DOT?
Murphy already updated.
Sorry.
It's okay. I had them all written down.
Okay. All right, moving on to item G, unfinished business. Mill Creek Bridge proposal, Sloan Preserve. I think we talked a little bit about it last time. Do you want to update us?
Well, there are no updates. At the last meeting, the question was whether or not this committee wanted to make a recommendation to move forward with that project. So nothing has changed since then.
Can I ask a question? I wasn't here for the discussion last week, but why does that have to be ambulance ready? Because there's not a road going back to the island. And certainly people, if there are events that require an ambulance, there's lots of other ways for people to get back there. But it seems like that's way overkill.
It's not ambulance ready. It'd be something like we have a side-by-side that the fire department uses when they have to reach remote areas.
So that goes back to your S5 cat vehicle ready, or horse ready.
Pretty much, yeah.
So like ATV, you're saying?
ATV.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense because I didn't see, but there's not a road.
Because there won't be a road to it, exactly.
There's not a road to come
I
out
was
of the island.
one of the same things. I got ambulance.
Then that is confusing to me because we did touch on, does the bridge need to be wide enough for an ambulance? And my question was, I guess maybe shame on me. I thought you were talking about an ambulance. You were talking about rescue equipment to get back there. I have formulated that to be an ambulance, but then I also didn't know that there was even a road to get there. So is there a road to get there or isn't there?
There is a gas easement,
Okay,
which vehicles already currently utilize.
Okay.
For access to like the Baker Land Holdings property. And we could also get an easement from that company to have a pathway down to
okay.
it.
So that's maybe the other thing that I was not too sure about is if we do build this bridge and it has to be as robust as for the safety, I shouldn't say safety like that. There was a directive about safety.
But safety is not the only reason. It is a large reason.
Mhm.
But that's a very underutilized space. It's
Mhm.
super cool and I want more
Mhm.
residents to be able to access it.
Oh,
The problem
I
is,
don't think we're disagreeing on
No, I know
that part
that.
at all. Yeah.
but I understand that there have been ways in the past that those trails have been managed, but it is not time efficient
Mhm.
at all. And the only way that we can get equipment over there to regularly maintain the trails is with a
Mhm.
bridge.
Mhm.
My question about that is, the usage of storm preserve, I think is pretty low. My assessment of it is there's not a lot of people that live near there who could walk there. So for most people, they drive there on Baker Road and then have to park there. I never see many cars, many vehicles there when I'm driving by. And so I don't think that preserve gets a lot of usage. And I question whether it's going to get a lot of usage, whether if we build a bridge, they will come. I'm skeptical of that. So I'm skeptical of the expenditure of money to build a bridge in the woods that people might not use.
I would disagree with your assessment of how much it gets used. Every time I'm out there, I see at least two vehicles come and go. And two is probably it's not a lot. But when I first started,
Maybe it is a lot. I don't know.
I would get residents that had concerns right when I first started about the maintenance of those trails because they were not being maintained at the same level as before because of the gap between directors. So I know that people use that space because.
Yeah, I'm only a casual observer, so.
But
I
the
don't know.
trout fisher people utilize that space a lot too. But again, this is just my recommendation based on a directive that I was given by this committee.
I think this
So-
was in the CIP, so this was something that's been around for a while.
It's in the pros.
The other question is, the land that we bought south of Sloan goes down to Marshall, right?
Yes.
Is there potential there could be a trail? Because there's a development on the other side of Marshall,
There are
right?
gonna be trails out there.
Because isn't that retire, whatever that community is,
Any hands?
no,
Heritage Woods.
Oh,
what's it called?
Heritage Woods.
Yeah.
Is it Heritage Woods? It's
down by
on the
94.
west side of Baker, so it lines up with the off ramp, the building back in there. It's pretty large.
Yeah.
But that's gonna go all the way to Marshall, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people are gonna live there, but so those people potentially could walk to, I'm asking the question. The land because the land we bought goes down to Marshall, right?
Mhm.
And that connects to Sloan. So potentially if you lived in that retirement community, that's what it is. You could walk up to Sloan. The true statement, I mean, not today, but
Oh, yeah.
and you envision that.
Yeah, and we had talked about the possibility of putting in another parking lot in that field. So
off
that,
of Marshall.
yeah.
Okay.
So that people, because right now you have to hike all the way through Sloan to get to the new parcels where we're gonna put the trails. We talked about it. I can't decide how I feel about putting another
second-
parking lot out there, just because of the
But
expense.
so potentially there could be, that community could walk there.
We could at least put like a trailhead that you walk to out there,
From-
but we're definitely putting trails out there.
But given the distance,
And that it's a retirement community.
I
right?
think we need.
Parking lot?
I think we should put at least a 5 or 6 car.
So at this point, the
Go ahead.
proposal is to hire OHM to do the design for this bridge, right? And the
Yes.
design cost for this bridge, clarify again,
29,000.
$29,000. So this is like, for them to design a bridge, to access this Sloan, the island, or I call it the island, but I guess the area out between the two, Mill Creek. At that point, they'll have an engineering cost. Then at that point, we bid it out for a contractor and then, so it's, I guess, the first step. So I guess at this point, is there,
Wait a minute, I have some comments.
I
Okay.
could-
I want to second what Steve said. We did talk about an ambulance last time and you were not wrong about that.
Okay, yeah.
That was one of the 3 reasons Murphy gave for that. Another reason you gave, Murphy, was to avoid compliance with having to work with Eagle. And that is the reason for a span of this length.
Not to avoid working with Eagle, to avoid the permits that would
Okay,
come from
same.
it's not the same. We have, we still have to collaborate with Eagle, which is where a large portion of the cost is going to come from, is floodplain and wetland permits through Eagle. And that's actually going to be the longer part of the process in this project.
Okay, I would suggest that we need to get Eagle permits. This is Mill Creek, it's a sensitive area. I think it's really important to work with Eagle on this entire project and not try to avoid any oversight by Eagle that this project might be.
And to clarify, that's never what I implied. What I said was, if we build in the river, it increases the permitting through Eagle. Whereas if we build it this way, we have different options of permitting through Eagle. And we still have to get 2 Eagle permits based on the way it's proposed now. And I would, as an environmentalist, never say that I don't want to follow the rules outlined by Eagle.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear we're working with Eagle. I'm gonna second what Thomas says. This is a very low use park. I'm over there all the time. I have never seen more than 6 cars in that parking lot at any time. I think this is way overkill for that spot. I think it is very expensive design proposal. And I think really that if we were to approve this, I think any one of us should be able, if a board member came to us and said, hey, this seems kind of expensive. Why did you decide on this proposal and what alternatives did you consider? Because as Roy said, this has been on the capital plan for a while, developing access to the island. I think any one of us should be able to say to the board member, this is what we considered. We've decided on this very large span, very long and very wide for these reasons. And these are the things we considered. I, for one, and I'm guessing most of or all of us could not do that. And I think it's really important that, we be part of the planning process in such a way that we could explain a very large capital outlay for the design part alone, let alone the building part. So that is my comment. Thank you.
And if I could, go ahead, Steve.
Well, I preface this by saying that I recognize that the Sloan Bridge project does not preclude what I'm about to suggest might be a higher priority, which is the Woodview Commons growing population there that has a high value, I believe, PUD mandated path that's already in place that could, with a stream crossing, could access one of our larger high value park areas. And so I'm wondering about the priority of Sloan over the priority of that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I speak to that?
Sure.
That is only because we have not outlined that project in any capital plan. But if that's something we want to prioritize moving forward, the capital plan is coming up again for discussion. And if the consensus is this project now is not a priority, I think it's important to understand that if we don't do it now, it's probably not going to happen because it's just going to keep getting more expensive. But if that is where we want to focus more of our funds and our time on a connection project like Woodview Commons, all we have to do is make sure that we put it in the capital plan and in the budget.
Well, that would be a question. Would doing this in any way prevent doing that in the future?
Woodview Commons on Jackson. Yeah. Are you thinking about the people from Woodview Commons coming to visit the Davenport/Sloan property, or?
No, this would be what we have been referring to as the Sychert properties, and now I assume that's part of 5 Oaks.
5 Oaks.
Yeah, it would be the westernmost, although there's been a recent purchase there, I believe. But it would be the westernmost of the Five Oaks parcels.
Right, so Woodview Common, the trail that goes back at dead ends, that's where I think. Ideally, that would connect.
Opportunity out there
Right.
for like boardwalk and connection.
And
I think
that-
my hesitancy has been, you have this massive pathway project that, and then we have the Park Road Pathway project that have been taking up, what will end up taking up a large portion of our fund balance. But again, we get to prioritize these projects.
Well, I think that's the perfect word is the value, and it's not just cost, although of course that matters, but it's fine, you're gonna put this kind of money into project X. Well, how many people are gonna use it? Now, nobody knows the exact number, but you can imagine, and I'm not even really that familiar with the area you're talking about, but I assume you can see, because it's a neighborhood or there's a lot, that will be the higher volume of value and usage and so on. And many years ago, while this has been on the capital plan, these kinds of concerns maybe weren't there to crowd out the funding that we thought we would want to use. And you're right. We can say, hey, we've changed our mind. It's been a couple of years. Some other things have taken what seemed to be a more value position than this. So maybe we'll do this down the road, but maybe there just aren't enough people using it to warrant putting that kind of money into it.
Yeah.
So you're right. You've been charged with having to put this together, and it kind of feels like you're taking some heat for all of our questions. I understand, but I think what we need to do is be less about I think we just need to continually look ahead and say, look, have things changed? If the answer is yes, well then let's evaluate based on the change, not based on, well, we have to get this done because we said we were going to do it. Let's be realistic about, okay, fine, we can move around, we can make better decisions in that way, maybe. But the points about the size of the bridge and all of this are still worrisome to me, as with other people for the Sloan, right? And so I don't know where that leaves us and how we're going to make a decision about Sloan right now, but I'm very willing to put Sloan still on the, let's not even do that yet.
Those are our discussions.
We haven't lost any money by looking at this proposal.
Mhm.
And if the consensus is we're just not moving forward with it right now, then that's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah, let me just clarify one thing.
Yeah, go ahead,
Obviously,
Rob.
I built quite a few miles of trail in Washtenaw County and actually in Wayne County. And Point Jumps, the reason they're doing a bigger bridge is with Eagle. Obviously, we're getting an Eagle permit because we're within 500 foot of the street. That's no doubt about that. But if you put a bridge in the actually footprint of floodplain, then you got to do a hydraulic analysis. Hydraulic analysis on Mill Creek would probably be $25,000. So that's why they've opened it up and made a bigger bridge. If you made that a smaller bridge, then the $29,000 is the engineering, but if we made a smaller bridge, it's going to cost probably $25,000 to $30,000 to do the hydraulic analysis. And then they're probably going to tell you got to open it up anyways. So that's why that's end of the day. I've done this before, and that's why. So I think that's what they're looking at. It sounds like, oh, they're making a bigger bridge because when you look, I mean, I've done. It's like, why is this bridge so big? And when you sometimes step across, the creek, but that's just the hydraulic analysis. And what they're looking at, it's not today's storm, it's a 100-year storm, those type of thing. That's why I just want to clarify.
Couple of points. When Nancy and I started first proposing Seabrook pathway, there was all kinds of outcry. Nobody's ever going to use it. Nobody will use that path. Nobody's going to use that path. It's the path to nowhere. On and on and on and on. People didn't look ahead and realize that it's the path to the border to border. And now, even though it's not complete, I see people walking on Seabrook pathway
Absolutely.
all the time.
Yeah.
So the bluebirds, as I call them, as they have been called, were wrong. You build it, they will come. We have a parcel that has a section that has got some pretty neat features, but you can't get to it legally. And people are putting stones, making a pathway across the river so that they can get to the island without getting too wet. That has happened. And that violates Eagles, because that's basically creating a dam or a quasi dam and a slippery dam could fall. So I think we should do that. I think we should connect Sloan Island to the Sloan non-island and give people access to that, especially the community going into the south of the Davenport purchase. There will be able-bodied people living there, not just old retirees like me. There will be able-bodied people that can walk up and get into Sloan and will want to go there. So I think if we build that bridge, community is going to come in. I think that bridge will be used, and it will stop people from making their own bridge across the river, making their own pathway across the river. Did you guys remove it every time you see them? You guys remove it?
Not anymore.
You've given up?
It does wash away in the spring.
Oh, they're not big enough to.
No, they're there. I want to build on what Steve said, though. I think to say, Murphy, that if we don't do it now, it will go away. I think there are possibilities for reimagining this project to get access to the island in a different way. And you want to get the large mower over there, and your priorities are certain priorities. There are ways to build a bridge that would accommodate, foot traffic, and ways to maintain a trail over there without the large mower. And I would like to suggest that if we do not go ahead with this very large one that has to go off the gas pipeline easement, there are other options at narrower points. And I think it's worth taking the time to explore those.
I will say that if we cannot get the equipment that is necessary over there, I'm not gonna ask my staff to go over with weed whips and take 2 days to weed whip it every week, which is what ends up happening.
It has to be maintained.
So we need something that's wide enough to get the mower over, because that is how I have decided I want our staff to use their time.
I would suggest that there might be another way, and that you might consider alternatives. I would do a small loop in there and keep it maintained. It's not hard to maintain a trail with a weed whip. It's not. It doesn't take 2 days. You don't have to make a 2-mile trail. You just make. No, I mean, I know Murphy has her perspective on this, but there are other perspectives, okay? And I'd like us to take the time to consider how we can do this in a way that is more suitable to the site, which I think this proposal is not suitable to that particular site.
I understand where you're coming from, but I want to agree with David that at the end of the day, how this department decides to use its resources is my decision or Clark's decision. I disagree with the way that you think that this is going to happen. It is not realistic and it's not feasible. I don't appreciate the way that this conversation has gone. I feel like things keep devolving into tense situations that ultimately are about my ability to do this job. And I just want to make it clear that I would like that to end now so that we can continue this conversation in a respectful and profitable way. Thank you.
So at this point, let's say, is there a motion
I'm
to?
gonna just mention something, okay? I appreciate what you said, Murphy. There has been nothing disrespectful in this meeting at all directed toward you. It has been a disagreement. It has been differing views, and it's important in a group like this to be able to hear differing views and evaluate them, because that's our job. We are here as representatives of the taxpayers to ask questions about these projects. That's our job. And so nothing personal to you at all, but just asking that you consider different perspectives, consider alternatives for this and other projects.
I will very strongly disagree that there has not been anything disrespectful said at this meeting. I think that everyone should take a step back on how we talk to each other. And I agree, we need to start listening to each other so that we can talk about different options. But with the heated attitudes, it's not becoming productive at all.
So at this point, well, I'd like to, is there someone approve the motion on Mill Creek Bridge proposal? So motion. Anyone wants to approve?
Sorry, what's the question?
We have a proposal to hire OHM.
I'll move that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor of hiring OHM to start the engineering,
You should do a roll call vote probably on that, right?
you can do that. Steve, or
I disagree. This committee is an advisory body, not a controlling body. This committee advises, doesn't control. the body. This committee makes suggestions to the body, doesn't control the body. What we're suggesting here is that we're gonna say either yay or nay to build this bridge. I disagree, that is not our role.
we're saying here and nay to approve the design.
Oh, okay, see, yay or nay, well, which is the first step to do the bridge. And that is not our role is to advise the park, not tell the park director what to do.
I don't understand how a vote yea or nay is a direction. I see that as advisement. We are being asked, do we agree with this? And if we vote yes or no, that doesn't mean Murphy has to do something. It's what we are saying as a body to say, you've asked us a question, here's our answer. Now, is that directing? It doesn't sound like it to me. I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it doesn't sound like it is to me. So a vote is just a vote. It's not a stamp of this is gonna happen.
Well, as long as
Right.
everybody understands that, then that's fine.
Well, I don't, well, okay, I can't speak for everybody, but I didn't misunderstand it as being telling Murphy what to do. This is just a vote, right? I mean, am I the only one?
On these before we had votes, David, on stuff like this, proposals. So I guess that's what we've done in the past.
Okay.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't.
And somewhere, I'm sure in the old charge, it's telling us that this is what we're supposed to be doing, if I'm not mistaken. So
The only question I would have, do we really need to do a roll call vote, or can we just do?
Maybe, I think what we need to do is clarify, following up on Steve said, we need to clarify for the secretary what the motion is. A motion to recommend the OHM study for a bridge in Sloan Preserve.
That's engineering, to perform the engineering for this.
The OHM study, is that clear? That's what it's OHM, is that right?
Yeah, it's OHM. The study though, it's more like engineering.
It's design and engineering.
Design and engineering.
Design engineering.
but it by itself is not the then next step to building a bridge. It's just to have that information. It doesn't oblige us to move forward,
Yeah,
correct?
right. The next step would be
Okay.
they'll get engineering plans and then they'll have a cost estimate. The next step would then to bid that out to a contractor
Mhm.
to.
And then still have a final up or down vote on whether we accept that. Okay, so the question is, do we really want to spend $29,000 to then determine whether we want a yes or a no vote? So far, that's what I'm reading.
To recommend to the board.
Yeah,
That they
right.
fund this expense, yeah.
Mhm.
Rather than turn our back on the bridge without even knowing how much it's gonna cost, we at least have to find out how much it's gonna cost.
I'm not sure that anybody's turning their back on a bridge. It's the idea of what is this bridge going to look like? I don't know that anybody has said no bridge. I think it's how are we going to do it?
Well,
And
I've
we're
heard
still
people- I've heard
looking to get information on what we think is the best way to do it. Am I misreading what you're saying?
No, I've heard
Oh.
several people say this is a park that's relatively unused and
Oh,
it's
that's
too much-
true.
too much money, and I disagree that it's relatively unused.
Okay.
If you look at the trails, they're well worn.
Uh-huh.
And not well worn because they've been weed whacked, they're well worn because they've been walked on.
Okay.
And it's obvious to me that it is well used, maybe not the highest used, but when that development is done, whatever it's called, Heritage Woods, whatever it is, I believe the volume of people will increase.
And
I
hopefully
think
in
we
the
should prepare
future.
we should look ahead, and prepare for the future. Go ahead,
Sure.
sorry.
Well, and we hopefully we won't look at this from a cost fallacy standpoint in the future where we put this 29,000 into the engineering. So we have to build it.
Right.
This is a start, but not a guaranteed thing.
Engineering is not gonna change. The price will, but engineering, once it's designed, we can use it.
Well, that's
Correct me
true.
if I'm wrong, but 10 years from now, we can take that design out and say, build this bridge.
Yeah.
It'll be twice as expensive, but build this bridge.
Yeah, we said, I'd love to update a few things, but for the most.
Just one question before we go on with this somewhat heated vote. So $29,000, is that a lot of money for this kind of study? It seems like, we've okayed these kind of studies in the past. Is this a lot of money? I don't have that background, so I don't know.
Especially considering the coordination with Eagle and the type of project it is, anything that has to do with the wetland, you're automatically, the price goes up.
Okay, so this is not a crazy number.
For engineering, it's a pretty small amount. You don't wanna ask how much they spent on Z Road Phase 5 and 4 and 3. I mean, it's usually hundreds of thousands of dollars when you do.
Well, I just think it's just good to get some perspective.
Right.
If we're talking about spending a huge amount of money, or just an average money for this kind of project.
Right, and I think the parks millage generates what, $800,000 a year? So in perspective, that's generally what our annual budget is, $800,000 range. Sometimes more because we get other grants, different things, but the revenue we bring in is about $800,000. So,
Is there an objection to a roll call vote?
well, I don't know, I guess,
You started it.
well, I guess we did, but then I wasn't sure. We've never have we ever taken a roll call?
Not that I can recall.
My comments were to make sure I get the motion correctly reflected in the minutes. And to know what we're voting on. And so we're in discussion phase before a vote.
Right.
Is that right? So, there's trails kind of, I would call them deer trails. They're kind of, rustic trails to approach this. Is there any, if you envision any improvements to the trails, or are they okay as they are? I went there recently and, I was very conscious of ticks and poison ivy. And I think I was wearing, the wrong footwear, and I think I was wearing short pants, but, I was kind of, it's not a very wide trail. It's not improved and have wood chips on it. And with this tick thing, I've been trying to stay more on pavement, wood chips. I mean, so it's not in my comfort zone because of those poison ivy in the window and ticks. And then I walked over to the, across the river, across the creek into the long grass on the island. It was very, very long grass, of course, but
It's pretty canary grass is taken over that.
it was really
The way to maintain.
right. And so this is where my question is. So if we're only talking about a study right now, but if the bridge were built, what's the vision for the paths in the slum preserve? Are they okay as is?
Oh,
Or
no.
It was
Short answer is no, they're not okay as they are, especially in the floodplain. That whole area has been a nightmare to try to figure out. In terms of priority, widening the trails to the north has fallen lower on the list of trails that we're working on. But in time, because we purchased the Davenport property, what I said when we bought that is Sloan Preserve could become like as popular and as awesome as a metro park. Like, we really have a lot of opportunity to create very cool trail systems. It's not going to happen all at once. We've already outlined our priority projects for this year, and we only have so much staff to cover them. But in general, there's nothing but opportunity for them.
All right, that's helpful to know if there's a vision. I was out there, it was a humid, hot day, and I didn't have much of a vision on the day.
Yeah.
The two, the Davenport and the Sloan, about how many acres combined, or just
Davenport 75.
Yeah.
75 acres?
So it's over.
And Sloan
100.
is,
It's 30 or 40.
I can never remember Sloan.
okay, so it is one of our larger preserves.
Yes.
Van Curler's what?
The nice thing about
90.
the Davenport
So-
Sloan property, unlike West Scio, is that most of it is accessible, whereas a lot of these areas are so wet, and as big as they are, unless we start investing a ton of money in boardwalks, we're pretty much relegated to the dry.
So this
uplands.
And Roy, Dave, to your question, our village is 0.63, right?
0.65,
0.65.
I think.
Oh,
I have it printed off.
well, 0.63 generates, this year, will generate 1.1 million, next year will be 1.2 million.
0.65.
Because we'll be
Okay,
$2 billion.
okay, so at one point it was 800.
Yeah, when it first came out, it was 8.
Okay,
But
so
each year it gets higher and
so
higher.
$30,000 out of 1.1.
Can I ask one more question? And so now, this trail, you talk about all these other thoughts for this area, that we're gonna go other places now, with this trail to the island, that's like a dead end, right? That doesn't get us anywhere else.
Right.
That just gets us to the island.
Correct.
To a little. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is big, but it still just gets us to the island.
Correct.
But so any of the trails would go around some other way.
Yes.
So, okay.
Any further?
Well, just to David's point, I mean, looking toward the future, all makes sense. Yes, I mean, if we can do the engineering now, because the cost of engineering is gonna go up too at some point, I suppose. And yes, the bridge will get more expensive, but maybe in that engineering, would we be able to ask them, hey, look, this is the bridge one way. Are there alternatives that they could see? Could they add that into their information package to give us some? Well, sure, okay, but how much? I mean, I don't wanna just spend money to spend money. I wanna have it make sense.
Right.
And if we're concerned about the size of the bridge, maybe ask them, what is there a plan B they could come up with? If our concern is the bridge is too big. Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but I think looking at the future and getting the engineering could make some sense as long as it doesn't oblige us to building something just yet. And we still get to agree.
Well, the size of the bridge, the reason it's longer, like I mentioned, because you're trying to keep it out of the flood.
Right.
And the width, it's really not that wide. It's wide enough to get an ATV across it. So it's not like, so I'm not sure you can make it any smaller.
Okay, well then, there you go. That is not in my expertise bubble, so that's what I wanted to ask.
It's far narrower than bridges on the B2B, for example.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
those bridges are 14 feet wide. How wide is this? bridge? 10.
Mhm.
It's 40% less.
I'd suggest that we would want to explore the alternatives, bridge alternatives, before we recommend that the board spend $29,000 to design a big bridge. And just look into whether there are alternatives that would be less expensive and more appropriate for that location. So just to reinforce what I.
Sure, and then the question right on top of that would be, who would be the ones doing that exploring of the options? If it
That's
isn't
Parks
OHM.
Department. I think it would be
Oh,
the Parks Department. Yeah, I mean, we have here a proposal for a 60-foot long, 10-foot wide bridge from OHM.
Mhm.
You know, we'll ask for an alternative. We say this is looking a little expensive. Let's look into alternatives.
We
Or
just
if
said
Murphy
the
doesn't have
alternative, you can't make it shorter because you're gonna get the hydraulic analysis. And we can't make it narrow, we can't get equipment. So I think this is the shortest and narrowest bridge we can do.
Maybe,
So
but
either we do this bridge, or we don't do a bridge, I think is what proposed. I mean, we're not asking them to build a ginormous bridge. They're building the smallest bridge we can, that we can get equipment and we're not building it in the floodplain, so we don't have to do the hydraulic analysis. So I think they are looking at the smallest bridge possible for the purpose that we want to utilize the island. We just want to get someone out there, but we want to get it so we can actually maintain trails out there. So I think that's why we've looked at making it as short and as narrow as we can, and this is the footprint.
Yes, and from my perspective, I won't propose any alternative that does not allow me to get the equipment over that we need. So just.
I'm gonna say that I wish you would, because I think that would be appropriate.
I don't see how building a bridge, spending all the money to build a bridge that we then ultimately still can't access with the equipment that we need, then that actually does become an unwise use of funds. We've expended funds to build something that did not meet the expectation to get us over there.
This is what Parks Director, the Parks Department has decided is needed. They've looked at the options. Minimum is 10 feet, minimum is, what'd you say, 30 feet? 30 feet long, 10 feet wide,
60, I think it's 60 feet.
It's
60
60
feet
feet long, 10 feet wide.
60 feet long, 10 feet wide, and that's the minimum that's required to get access that the parks needs and in order to make it usable by the public. Anything narrower, we won't be able to get the equipment. Anything shorter will cost more.
And 10 feet is the total width of the bridge, not the platform.
It'll end up being
width
more
of the
like
bridge.
8 feet to actually drive on.
And that's the minimum you need to get the ATV across, to get the, what you call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yours is 8 feet, ours are 14 foot.
It's 10 feet, but 8 feet of actual.
When I say 14, I mean 14 between. So you,
Oh.
yeah, You know, ours are
You could
16.
drive a car on.
Yeah, well, that's where you federal funds, you have to, that's what, yeah, that's what the requirement is. So anyway, so back to where we were about 15 minutes ago. I'm gonna say, I'm just making, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Aye, it's carried.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1.
Okay. All right. On to new business. It is what time here? Okay.
20 minutes.
Pros plan, update. Perfect.
Okay, so, let's just go through this. Okay, so right now, we are 1 year away from our pros plan expiring. And it's my understanding that in the past, Carlisle Wortman has been employed to basically compile all of this information. One thing that Rita and I don't remember if you were part of that conversation, identified is that there were just not enough residents that participated to give us feedback on any aspect of this. So I'll get back to what you were suggesting, but kind of what I was looking for today is guidance based on your past experience of how to start approaching this with Carlisle Wortman. What key features and portions you want to retain and which ones we think we could probably do without moving forward, if any. This is still super comprehensive, so we want to keep everything we can. And then figuring out how we want to move forward with reaching more residents, whether that's through a combination of like the newsletter, the website, we could have QR codes at the parks, kiosks, we could have full-on events where we invite people to start giving us feedback through a forum that ideally Carlisle Wortman would craft for us and then manage all of the data on our behalf. But all of that being said, what are your thoughts on how you guys want to approach
I'm
this?
trying to remember, Patrick and I and a couple other, I can't remember our subcommittee, we were working with Chris at Carlisle Waterman a few years ago. And we put together a questionnaire. We came up with ways in which to measure different things. We 70 questions or something like that. I think we came up with. And I thought we had an open house here as well as a newsletter, a website, and your term was didn't get enough public response. Do you know it literally? Because I don't.
Yeah, we
get like 100
There were
people.
a lot of people.
Yeah,
I thought there were a lot of people.
but what do we gauge as enough? How do we figure
I'm
that
not
out?
sure what you say there wasn't. No, I mean, we're trying to encourage more. Like,
Yeah,
that's-
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I think one of the issues that we kind of run into when we're trying to reference this document to the board
Mhm.
is that it just isn't encompassing enough resident input. So the more residents we get, the more oomph we have when we reference this stuff.
And a better cross section.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think we're all totally in agreement with that. I was just curious if there was some kind of a tally of how many people actually
There
responded.
There's somewhere in this thing.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's okay. I don't want to waste time on
Chris
it. I
probably
was
has
just
that,
curious.
but yeah.
Yeah.
This is more a discussion. I think the plan is go back to Carlisle Wortman. They've done the last 2 times.
Mhm.
They've got all the data. They got, but how can we make it better? Right? And is there things in here that we need to do more on? Things we can maybe do less on? I don't know. You can hear it. It's more just an opening discussion
Mhm.
on the pros plan, because obviously some we're required to do if we want to get DNR money, which we've done in the past.
Yeah.
And so it's a way for our community to be engaged on what our recreation plans are for Scio Township. It's a good thing for
Sure.
communities to do.
We considered a direct mailing. We have 7,000 addresses, put out a whole postcard like the
Yeah.
campaign postcards.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
There's the Scio postcard. There's the Scio Township bulletin or newsletter that goes out,
Right.
put it in that.
Mhm.
That's
Mailing.
direct mailing right there.
Direct
There you go. Right.
It is, except for the 30 houses on Scio Church.
I read it.
Yeah.
People read it. I got a
Yeah.
call from a resident today about
Yeah.
it. So.
I mean, another postcard, I'm not strongly opposed to another postcard, but I think that's
Yep. And it doesn't cost us any.
right.
We could also send it out in the utility bills
Mhm.
Oh.
since the postage is already paid for.
2,000, that's 2,000 residents.
Yeah, that would miss some people, yeah.
Just the people who are walking.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know how sophisticated it even has to be. It could be just a sticker on there saying, hey, the pros plan's coming up,
Oh,
give us your,
sticker.
give us your input or something like that. And yeah, you're right, it's only only 2,000. But what if 2,000, those 2,000 aren't reading the newsletter? You know, I mean, just,
But even if you get 50 out of that 2,000,
yeah,
that'd be a good.
that's probably almost half again as many as we had the
I mean,
first time.
the township newsletter gets everyone, but why not do?
Yeah,
You can do both.
yeah,
You can do all three or all four, whatever. It's no
sure.
And you have to say what the pros plan is, because I think largely, if you say the pros
Yeah.
plan's coming up, people aren't gonna know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
absolutely.
You want them to comment on
Yeah.
It would be
something that's.
possible,
So just pros plan
Mhm.
is,
we could
come up with like one or
dedicate
two
one of our
sentences.
meetings to the pros plan discussion. And
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's in, yeah,
come to the meeting and, well, you'll have,
right,
there'll be an expanded public comment.
Mhm.
right, and there's a video too, so people can always come back and watch these meetings online, you know?
but in general, is your agreement for me to put together a contract with Carlisle Wortman to assist us with this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think they did it, well, I think it worked out very well last time.
Right.
I thought it was a good,
No, I think Chris
Good
does a great
process.
job and,
Yeah.
and he's very familiar with our community and.
and he had a lot of good suggestions too, just from knowing other communities,
Right.
what
They
they've
do it
done.
with
And
a
he
lot
made
of-
some
yeah.
suggestions to us about, yeah, so I thought it was a very good process. Yeah,
I think we did that with trails.
We did,
Carlisle Working did that here before your time, way before your time.
oh, okay.
Carlisle Work, I think we did it here, working down the trails.
Mhm.
We don't really involve only the.
Yeah.
That meeting? It was a big Carlisle Workman meeting here with talking about the various trails that we were, this is way back when we had a tap.
Oh,
Yeah.
before the,
you were,
I was on, yeah.
oh, I was on tap for a
Yeah.
while, but yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But I don't remember what day.
Well, that was the TAP committee working with Carlisle Workman. We did that, yeah, right.
Can do it.
Yeah,
Obviously, please do.
yes.
Okay, and
We
then
should start.
Well, should we, is that something that we need to say, I,
Not
we
to
agree? Oh,
give-
okay.
be better.
We should probably start now.
But then would anybody want to work with me to come up with a schedule of what we want to address at the next few meetings? So that we're not trying to like tackle everyone coming from a different perspective.
Can I try to break this down maybe in this way? If we looked at the pros plan in thirds, let's say, and just well, okay, but as long as, well, all right, I don't want to look at it in tenths, you know, because then it would take 10 months, right? So we're gonna have to compact it somewhat, but I think trying to do one meeting is just, we're just not gonna be able to do that. So if we broke it down in thirds, did the best we could, and if it turns out at the last meeting, geez, we need to table some more for a fourth, well, okay. But if we try to constrain ourselves to three, I don't know, maybe that's what I think.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do we need to be more than monthly for this pros plan?
Well, it doesn't.
We already talked about 3 months,
Yeah, no,
possibly 4.
agreed. But since we don't know how it's gonna go, let's see maybe in the first meeting, because we can always say, you know what, we changed our mind and we're getting through it faster. Maybe we don't need 3 or 4. I don't know. Let's leave it open to just get started and see where we go.
We're not starting with a blank page. We're updating.
Exactly. You're right. So it might just go faster than we think, but if
And
we
we could also ask Chris.
hey, if he could come to the first one especially, because then he might be able to give us an outline for, hey, look, you got this
is what he
far.
does. This is
Yeah.
his job, so he's done it in
No,
multiple
he
communities.
would be
Chris-
immensely
Chris-
helpful to be here.
Chris,
Not our Chris. Chris
Nordstrom.
Nordstrom,
Yeah.
Carlisle.
Yeah, not Nordstrom Rack, Chris Nordstrom. But yes, he would be extremely helpful, especially at the first meeting, I would think, to help give us that outline. Yeah.
Do we want to try to invite him to our October meeting,
Or September?
September?
Yeah. I mean,
Let's see if he's available. Yeah, September or not?
Or
October.
I'm gonna be gone October, but I mean, obviously the committee goes on without me, but I'm just saying I'd love to start in September because I'd love to be part of
Yeah,
that.
he's
So, yeah.
available.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's
all right.
helpful.
Next item is discussion of renewal of the parks millage. That's another thing that's gonna be before, when is it?
So it technically runs out in 2029, but we would want to have the language on the ballot for 2028. And the biggest question well, there are two big questions. What language do we want to use? Do we want to just advertise it as a renewal? This is all recommendations to the board. Or do we want to advocate for an increase in the millage? And you guys are residents, so you guys understand
Yeah,
pressures of the taxing right now more than I do. All I've got is
And it also should.
for 5 years, okay?
What's the one now?
but
10 years.
Why do you say that?
We're not locked in for 10 years with the same rate. So we can, if we have to increase the millage, it'll come up and we can increase the millage.
Only bad thing about 5 years, that means you're voting on it on a even year elections. So I do 6. Again, 6.
And our current millage is 0.65.
Yes.
And I think the pros plan in the CIP will help steer some of this, like, okay, you have to do the pros plans, but like, okay, we think we want to do these 22 items or 122 items, whatever the number is. And based on that, you can say, you know, at 1.1 or 1.2, we can afford to do these. If we want to do more than this, we have to, you know, so I think as you gather that information, we can find out.
Also,
Well, and then the pros plan is bringing in more community involvement ahead of this vote.
Right.
right, yeah.
Do we think that people would support having, you know, spending more money on parks because we want, it's like, oh, we want to do all these things. It's like, well, we can't afford to do other things.
The shorter term does bring vulnerability sooner.
yes.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right, because it could be voted down.
Mhm. And is the millage 80% of our budget? Is it? We also get general fund, tree
We do
fund
not
money?
get general.
Oh, okay.
We actually
Didn't know
pay
that.
into the general fund.
Oh,
The
boy.
privilege of having office space.
Okay.
And
It's the audit.
Is the
And
millage
garage.
100% of our budget then?
yes.
Well, then if we do reach into the tree fund for this or that, how do we get to do that if that's not part of our budget?
Because the tree fund projects were approved through the capital plan, so
Okay.
all of that's specified, so anything that we're purchasing that goes directly towards the plan that's happening this fall, we can use the tree fund. But it is super restricted to like plants, tree cages.
Yeah, I
and
wasn't gonna
stakes
put
for,
a
like-
water feature out there with it. I
Yeah.
just was curious because if that millage is our budget, but yet, yeah, but we can do this and we can do that, then I just am curious how we have that tangential
I
stuff
wondered
going
if
on.
in the past, when this was developed, if there had been kind of an implication that the general fund would then support any gaps, but I don't see how that could happen since we're paying into the general
Yeah.
fund.
Well, okay.
Here's a question, when we're talking about this, currently it's 6.5. We have 2 seasonal, 2 regular nets. Natural area technique. We have 11 preserves. So that's 2 full-time people, 2 seasonal people, which now was like 10 months, 9 months.
It's still 9 months.
9 months. To do the work on 11
Mhm.
reserves. I think we probably need, if we were to do it right, we probably need 8 or 9. Probably 1.5 mats per preserve. 1 per 2. Minimally, we need 5 or 6. Which we have to double our budget basically as far as personnel goes. Now, that's gonna go over like a lead. I don't think they understand the amount of work that's to actually maintain, to actually run a parks department, maintain 11 preserves with the trail and the parking and the garbage at that. The other stuff. So I think we have to figure out if we go for 1 mil, that would mean that we would be getting $2 million with a $2 billion tax value. 1 mil would give us $2 million. How much could you do with $2 million with having 5 nets? Would that be a good 6-year plan? And this is all hypothetical. I mean, you have to think ahead. We have 11 preserves, and if the LPC does their job in 2 years, 3 years, we might have 12 or 13 preserves. Because we're still getting money from LPC, we have to spend that money.
Well, then, as the preserves and our network of places that people can visit that we're responsible for grows, we have more trails, more forested areas, more burns, more everything. And so, yes, nets, I'm sorry, nets or gnats?
N-A-T.
Thank you.
That's right.
Gnats are critical, but yeah, I mean,
That's without the G.
yeah, okay. But right, so, but there's literally gonna be more equipment to buy and things to do, so.
So
Yeah.
we don't have to,
Yeah.
I laid that on the table because I don't think we should do a renewal. I think we should do a new village. And we should strike that 15%.
I agree.
All right.
Okay.
There's another meeting starting.
Yeah, here we go.
So.
All right.
Can I just make one clarifying statement?
Sure.
In general, this ends up being fully the responsibility of the committee members, drafting it and everything else.
Okay.
Happy to contribute, but typically the committee is the group that would do the drafting and I will give the input, but it is also the millage that pays my job, so there might be a kind of conflict of interest. So, just wanted to put that out there in case you just wanted to form like a sub.
Clarify one thing, we have received DNR grants, we have received state funding,
Okay.
so it's not just, not 100%. You probably need to look at how much state funding and other money. So the millage doesn't fund everything, like Zebra.
Oh, sure,
That's
it would
where-
qualify for grants and things,
Exactly,
yes.
helps qualify.
Yeah.
So,
But to have
but
a
the operating
spreadsheet
budget
that shows
yeah,
us that kind of
exactly,
stuff.
the operating budget,
We're
yes.
flying
100%.
blind if we don't really have them.
Yeah, exactly. We have
Okay.
got it.
Good.
All right,
All
I think we'll close that session. At this point, item I, time for public comment. 3 minutes. Anyone in the public want to speak? Okay, thanks, Rob.
Begins at 6.
Yeah, I know, we got the clock.
Yeah, one public
What
comment.
begins at 10? Oh,
Right.
that's why you guys are. Oh,
Yeah, I thought you just wanted to sit in our meeting. Yeah.
I thought you were coming to enjoy the parks.
I will summarize so I don't get grounded. Can we please have a parks map? When you guys are talking about the parks, I'm like, is that one there or is that one there? It's hard to keep track of where all the parks are. If we could have a map and then get it on the website, that
We're
would be
working
great.
on it, just, you know.
Oh,
we're
really?
on it.
Wonderful. Steve, you talked about Woodview Commons and about balancing the value. Remember that Woodview Common backs up to the Herons. So let's be super careful about having a buffer around the Herons and protecting that. I highly suggest that to get to Liz's concerns, the committee members send the subcommittee their suggestions for the discussion for the next month, so that as the subcommittee is discussing things, they can have input from the committee members, and that will make a better proposal when they come back in a month. And then Township Hall has been busy in the last 90 minutes. I've counted at least 12 cars and probably at least 12 people walking in and out of Township Hall Park. So once again, the work you guys are doing is paying off because it's getting used. And
Did you notice how many had dogs?
I saw at least 3 dogs.
Both of you also saw 3 leashes.
Yeah, they were on.
Any? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we adjourn at
Got your room.
5:57.
All right. Just in time.
Recording stopped.